a director. He directed Bring It On, Ant-Man, Break Up, Yes Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Down with Love, Back to the Future, and Back to the Future 2, right?
Well, the making of Back to the Future 2.
The making.
You should make that distinction.
Wait, you didn't make... I watched those and I was just like, Peyton did it again.
Had I led you to believe that I was responsible for the movie itself, Back to the Future 2?
You were a little blurry with your explanation.
Yeah, I apologize,
no, welcome to the studio. Peyton Reed is back. Everybody, remember? Well, look, let's just get to it here.
Yeah.
It's been a journey here. When did the first Ant-Man movie, was that 2015?
It came out in 2015. We started shooting it in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started in 2014, and it was the summer of 2014. The midterm elections were around the corner.
Yeah, please, let's put this in historical context.
People were excited about things.
Oh, yeah.
I go to the set in Atlanta, Georgia, the pride of the South. Atlanta, Georgia, the Peachtree State.
Sure.
And I get invited,
yeah,
to do to act in the movie, to sell Paul Rudd, who plays Ant-Man. Not in his Ant-Man costume. He wasn't Ant-Man yet. Well, he was Ant-Man yet, right?
Yeah.
A lottery ticket.
Yeah, and again, I should reiterate, it was an invitation extended by myself as director of the movie, by Paul Rudd, the star of the movie.
Yes.
And already with, you had a sort of built-in fandom at Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige.
Sure, yes. So that sequence, by all reports, was...
terrific.
Terrific. Thank you. I didn't want to say. Snip, snip, snip. Hits the cutting room floor. Movie's too long. You gotta, because this is one thing I'll say as a sidebar.
Yeah.
Here's one of the things I like about your movies. You keep these things lean and mean. Yeah, lean and mean.
Yeah.
You're not going to get no. Look, if this guy directed Infinity War, it would have been 40 minutes.
Yeah, great. Thank you. What an endorsement. Well, I should say that the scene was not cut for time. It was it was part of a whole montage that then that whole concept fell out of the movie.
A whole sequence fell out of the movie.
Right. Because when you say cut for time, that's like, oh, Tom's performance was great, but there wasn't time to stick around and wallow in that. It gives a different impression.
Of course. Now it happens. Now we jump forward. 2018 is the year.
Yeah.
Donald J. Trump is president.
Of course.
The LeBron James is going to the Lakers. All the thrilling things that were in the air at that point. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Shoots in 2017.
That's right. Yep.
Shoots in 2017. Back to Georgia, Peachtree State, pride of the South. I'm back again. I am told there's a character named Sonny Birch, played by the great Walton Goggins, one of my favorite actors, by the way.
Absolutely.
One of the funniest actors. And as a sidebar.
Yeah.
Good guy. He's a good guy.
Great guy.
Great guy.
I love Walton.
So funny. I, along with John Worster, I'm told we will be goons. Sonny Birch's goons for the big chase scene, which was quite a chase scene. One of the best. This is my list here.
Yeah.
Bullet.
Okay.
French Connection.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and Wasp.
Oh, wow.
Then Smokey and the Bandit.
Uh-huh.
That's your third on that list.
Ant-Man the Wasp is ahead of Ronan.
Ronan ahead of John Frankenheimer's Ronin.
Yeah. Ahead of Bogdanovich's What's Up, Doc?
Ahead of What's Up, Doc, yes. Renowned for its extreme car chases.
Yeah.
Ahead of Smoking the Bandit, ahead of Megaforce, ahead of any of the Hal Needham, the Hooper.
Wow.
Stroker Race.
Classic car chase.
Yeah. We shoot it. We're driving around.
Yeah.
I was told the operative word on that one. What was the operative word?
The operative word that I have lived to regret ever uttering was uncuttable.
Uncuttable.
Uncuttable. Until I cut it.
And much like the realities in these Marvel movies, clearly time was altered to where the uncuttable became cuttable. Suddenly, some sort of magic happened. Perhaps Scarlet Witch intervened and and we went back into time and cut. Finally.
Listen, the reality is you get in the editing room, you're finishing the movie, you're tightening the movie.
Of course.
It's got to sing, and then...
Exactly. Yeah. I get it. I was on the wrong end of quality filmmaking. So, looky Lou, what comes around now? Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. And this one, don't blame part one on Peyton. Blame it on COVID-19, because I was getting ready for a costume fitting. I'm like, oh, well, there's a protocol before you go for costume fitting to just do a COVID test.
It was set. You were on the call sheet.
I was ready. Yes.
We were ready for you. We had a mark on the set in place for you.
And we're not going to say what scene it is because it wouldn't be fair to an actor, but I mean, look, Jonathan Majors is a great actor and he did great with the part that I was going to do.
Oh, no.
That's...
You weren't there for Kang. There was a different thing. Yeah.
Well,
it's an interesting take on the character. I suppose.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hey, Ant-Man.
That's Kang.
Yeah.
He growls.
I'll do whatever I want. I'm Kang.
He's from the Bronx, Colin?
I win.
Kang? Hey, Ant-Man. What are you doing?
So the fates intervene. You're exempt on that one. You were in the clear. You were as hurt as anybody by that.
No, and I appreciate. I want to just sit in that for a moment because I do want to. I really appreciate you saying that now to your listeners and viewers and anyone else. This could appear in print at some point. Anyone getting this information, it's important. I thank you for acknowledging that. We really made every effort to get you in this movie. I can't imagine having done an Ant-Man trilogy without you in it somehow.
But then you said, don't worry.
Yes.
We're shooting a whole other thing in September. You said, get ready. You said, go get I hope you like bread bowl clam chowder and I hope you like sea lions and I hope you like prisons on islands. Because we're going to San Francisco.
Yep. Yeah.
To shoot a scene where I was to be a part of the Ant-Man world at that point. And then you came into the studio.
Yes.
And told me on air.
Yeah.
Now, then this is the thing. I've heard nothing for the last 5, 6 months. Was that real? Was that real? Were you putting on... Look, if I was putting on an act for that, I would be starring in these Ant-Man movies. I'd be the greatest actor you've ever seen.
Yeah, that was real. And, we can talk about it now. I can tell you what you knew what that scene was. There was a scene. Can I talk about the scene that was supposed to be? There was going to be a scene, which is not in the final movie of Quantumania, as we revealed on air, unfortunately on air. That was probably a bad call on my part, Tom. But anyway.
It's optics. Not great optics.
Not great. So there was a scene that we were going to shoot in San Francisco at a Giants baseball game. It was a quick part of an opening montage that is in Quantumania, but it was a beat where Scott Lang was going to be doing a public appearance. He was going to go big and knock one out of the park, and it was a cool visual thing.
Sure.
And again, as we this time we didn't shoot it and cut it. We realized in the cutting room, like, no, this is one beat too many here. We cut it before we shot it. So, I came on the show and I figured I needed to tell you, and I made a what I would call a misjudgment to have told you on the air.
Yeah. Well, look, you didn't expect to see my little heartbreak. Yeah,
the word stricken comes to mind. You were stricken. I could see that, and as you've produced a sort of a piece recently that,
well, you know what?
Yeah. That was not meant
to be a segue. Can we play the piece?
That wasn't meant to be a segue.
Can we play it? Can we bring it up on the screen in studio? I would like.
Oh, great.
Is that possible?
Ugh.
I like that. It sure is, Tom. See, that's what my
can we humiliate Peyton Reed further? Thank you. Let's get that on the screen as soon as possible.
And this is made by the team, the Best Show team. I'm not sure who wants to be credited on it. It is something else.
Oh, yeah.
On there, and I can give some insight into the production on this if anybody wants a look. Nobody got cut out of this production too. I just want to say, when we hire people, they're in the finished product. That's how we do it here.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting cut.
Oh.
Yes, this went online last over the last few days. And also, I want to just say, as a sidebar, I realized in that episode of The Best Show that I was cut from 2 projects. Did you hear about the second one? Ronnie Bronstein, who co-writer of Uncut Gems and co-writer of Good Time, all the Safdie's things. He revealed that I did a voice for an animated thing he was working on, and that I had just been cut from that also.
For time, or?
I believe so. But then, look, the whole thing went down in flames. Not saying anything about smoting, righteous sinners in the hand of an angry God, Cotton Mather. Not talking about Cotton Mather, Old Testament. But let's just say the scores gets like there's something operating that levels the playing field. When I get wronged, the fates intervene sometimes, and sometimes it's 100-fold what you receive. So here's this video that was put online telling the story. Have you seen this? Show, you're on the air.
Peyton Reed calling in. Director of the #1 movie of the world, basically, right now.
The director of Ant-Man.
Tom actually shot a scene in downtown Atlanta. It was actually a montage sequence that ended up not making it into the movie.
So then here comes Ant-Man and the Wasp. Film a thing for it.
Uncuttable.
Yeah, uncuttable.
Until I cut it.
Yesterday there was a press conference.
Have there been any talks about you returning for a 3rd film in the series? And if you do, will you be cutting Tom Scharpling from that movie too?
So Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania comes rolling around, and
we have had to cut. I probably should not have done this on the air. I'm looking at your face right now.
That's right. That tells the story. That's our version of cinema, Peyton. That's us telling. It's kind of like Dunkirk. That was my version of Dunkirk. Three separate stories in one thing. 70 seconds.
I don't remember in Dunkirk someone's laughter at a joke being recontextualized as the mad cackle of the heel in the story now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, doubling back and doing the quick cut to blacks and then closer and closer.
Look,
Yeah.
were techniques from that was kind of like a little bit of the Willie Horton campaign, like that he was used to like
It is a
some
great
Lee
political ad.
Atwater. There's a little bit of Lee Atwater.
It's a great political ad, and by the way, hats off to everybody here who put that together. That it's brilliant, and it really paints me as a first class.
Just Kang. You're like Kang.
I'm like Kang in this universe. Yeah, I love it.
Kang the Conqueror.
Hey Tom, you're not gonna be in this trilogy. That kind of a Kang. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But much like these Marvel movies, you sit in your seat, show the credits.
Yeah.
Then sometimes there's more.
You mean like a tag scene?
A tag,
of some sort?
yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Look, and sometimes you sit with these Marvel things, you sit all through the credits, you see 8,000 names roll by, and then they throw a thing at you, you're just like, oh my God, that is going to be the most amazing thing. Other times you do it and it's you see, you watch a thing and like it's like Vision's eating a hamburger. And you just waited 11 minutes. Meanwhile, now I got to pay an hour at the parking garage now. I think there might be a whole Marvel parking garage thing that we're going to get to the bottom. See if they like to run those movies a little bit past when your ticket expires. You got to pay that 1 hour.
I'm still stuck on Vision eating the hamburger.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's a space hamburger.
Yeah.
So that was that day. But the next day, I wake up to a text from you saying, what are you doing today?
Yeah.
And this is also, that thing was 100% real, and this is 100% real, and we have not been able to talk about any of this because it's an in production thing. Just you're not supposed to talk about these things while the thing is still in production. But now that it's done, so you say to me, "What are you doing today?" I say, just kind of crying, kind of licking my wounds, thinking about giving up. You said, "Don't give up yet. We're shooting today, and I got something for you."
Yeah.
So I drive over to the lot, as they say. Get on the lot. Pretty sweet parking spot. Fourth floor.
Fourth floor.
Fourth floor.
In the deck, yeah.
Fourth floor on the deck.
Yeah.
Not on the ground. Fourth floor. It's better. You can see the whole lot from up there.
This is over at the Radford lot in the valley, yeah?
I believe so, yeah. So I get there, and I'm told that you're shooting. You say, get in the chair. You're going through the works.
The works. Put Tom Scharpling into the works.
Yes. And I am turned into...
You were turned into a character who appears in the new motion picture, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Because let me say this to the listeners. I shot a thing. Look, am I in it as much as Paul Rudd? No.
Yeah.
Am I in it as much as Evangeline Lilly? No. You're going to go a long way. What is my running time in the movie? 3 seconds?
I will say it's probably between 3 and 4 seconds, but it's a close-up.
Look, I saw the movie. I'll say it. I saw the movie last night.
Yes, you did.
I went to the premiere, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. First class production. I'm telling you, they got hamburgers. They got sodas. They got hot dogs, anything you wanted. They're like macaroni and cheese ball.
This sounds like my kid's birthday party.
Well, it was like a birthday party for people who like movies. So I go to this premiere, and I get swept through first class treatment. So I want to thank you for that. They swept me right past all these losers and these bums. I'm just breezing past them as they're just like, oh, well, I'm trying to get it to you.
You had clearance.
Sit down, watch the movie, and I'm in the movie for like 3 or 4 seconds. Solo shot. When would you say to people, like, about when, like, what would be, I don't want to give anything away.
Yep.
When should people, like, start to get ready to look for it?
So you're asking as they're in the movie watching Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Not do you want to say when, not do you want to say exactly the scene, but, like, what should they start to, how would you say that they should start, like, that's when they should start looking?
They should perk up suddenly and they start looking. I would say, I don't know, you're roughly around the maybe 35, 40 minute mark, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And you do get a considered close up.
Mm-hmm.
You were shot by noted cinematographer. Was it Bill Pope who shot it? Yeah, it was Bill Pope. I think it was Bill Pope. Yeah. And you went through the works.
Yeah.
Should we talk about, I don't want to create any spoilers here.
Full crazy makeup.
Full crazy makeup. And the other thing I would like to add is this character that you play is a character that was created entirely for you. You are a new character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this character was literally created for you, Tom Scharpling, because I felt, and I think you'll feel the same way, it was the absolute least I could do, because you earned this. If anyone's ever earned a part in Hollywood, you earned this part.
Yes.
And
so this is the thing, and I want to say this to everybody who listens. Look, for 8 years, you've given this guy a hard time. Not unlike Darth Vader himself when he picks up the Emperor. He's like, and throws him. Sometimes the villain can turn into the hero.
Tom, are you giving me a redemption arc?
This is I'm not giving it to you. You gave yourself the redemption arc. First of all, there's a message. Everybody, you leave him alone now. You be nice to him on Twitter. Any comment you say, like, how are you going to hurt Tom again? He's done. He's off the hook forever. He's on our side. He always was. But the arc is over. Redemptive moment, 3 seconds of glory. And look, did I feel a surge in the crowd? It felt like, because it felt like, look, the movie is amazing. I love the movie.
Thank you, Tom.
I love the Marvel movies. I know what you do with them. You make the funniest ones. And I'm just going to say this. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, has literally two moments that are the funniest moments by a mile that are in any of these movies.
Oh.
So funny. Like extended funny, capital F funny. So yes. I did feel, but like you feel a thing where people are like, what's this movie going to be? How is it going? Then suddenly that happens. And then they're like, then it's just like, now we're cooking.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, the movie's just rolling.
Yeah.
It's like when you're watching Smokey and the Bandit, the 4th greatest car chase movie after Ant-Man the Wasp. And they're trying to break into steal beer. And you're like, what am I? They're like, they got the key. I'll write a note. And you're just like, what are they? What are you guys doing to us here? Like you're watching that part. But then from that point on, you got Snowman.
Yeah.
You got the Bandit.
Yeah.
You got frog.
It starts
Right.
cooking at that
You
point.
got turn left, daddy. Right? Turn left, daddy.
There it is.
Turn right, daddy. We'll be in the clear.
Uh-huh. I have to say, as a side note, nothing pleases me more than your Southern accent. And it's a catch-all. It works.
It's Jackie Gleason's faulty Southern accent that I'm just bringing to life.
Yeah,
He
but
was
you're
actually researching the part. Like he didn't go live in Alabama for 6 months before Smokey and the Bandit.
He essayed a role of a Southern law enforcement officer in a way that few other actors have.
Sure, and
everybody. It's the reason you're talking about it today, all these years later. But your Jackie Gleason in Smokey and the Bandit impression is very close to your Foghorn Leghorn impression, or your old white frat guy eating at Mama Dip's Country Kitchen in Chapel Hill impression. They're all really kind of the same voice, and I love it every time I hear it.
We get it done.
Yeah.
It's not where you start; it's where you begin. Just remember that. I just want to play a little thing here. If this gives you a little context, this is the inspiration for so much of what I do.
Let me have a Diablo sandwich of Dr. Pepper. Make it fast. I'm in a goddamn hurry.
Yeah.
For my whole life, I've been fascinated with Diablo sandwiches too. Have you grew up in North Carolina?
I did.
Have you ever had a Diablo sandwich?
Never heard of it, except out of Jackie Gleason's mouth in Smokey
What
the
is
Bandit.
it? What is it? I think it's a meat sandwich with hot sauce.
Yeah, it's got to be some kind of hot sauce, some kind of, what was it? Texas Pete? I don't know what it would have been.
Yeah.
That was before the big hot sauce craze where you could go to a hot sauce kiosk at the farmer's market and
exactly
and collect them all.
So where you watch an episode of the Hot Ones, for example, and you watch.
Yeah.
And I will say this. If you watch the Hot Ones, Ant-Man's Paul Rudd is maybe the all-time champion of that show where
it's impressive.
He did not drink water. Is that correct?
That's correct.
He just rode the ride the whole time. I don't know how he did that.
Well, he knows also if you drink water when you have hot sauce, it opens up the taste buds and it makes it worse.
Okay.
It exacerbates the problem.
Sure. You're supposed to drink milk.
Can I? That's right. Or like suck on a cucumber. Can we talk about the character?
In Ant-Man and the Wasp.
In Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
Yes.
And this character has a name.
Yes. And this is the thing. We're on set. I'm in this makeup. And Peyton says, what should we name the character? And I say, I don't know. Does my name look like Jeff Loveness? I didn't write this thing.
Jeff Loveness is the screenwriter of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Very funny gentleman.
No, he's very funny. He did an amazing job with this movie too. I tip my hat to him. Seriously, the amazing job. Then you say to me, what about this name for the character? And what is the name? And if anything, it's going to prove to you that Peyton gets it. What is the name of the character you came up with? My character.
Well, you had to coexist in the quantum realm with characters like Quaz and Veb and Zalem. It had to be kind of like a space name. So I landed on Nabridge, and that's capital N apostrophe capital B-R-I-J, Nabridge.
Nabridge. Now, has there ever been a more inside track, Best Show, Scharpling and Worcester reference than the character's name is Nabridge, everybody?
And Nabridge is now officially Marvel Cinematic Universe canon.
Yes. I had to go, after I filmed this scene, I had to go into a thing and they took every picture Matrix style of me.
They scanned you. Yeah.
They did the scan. So keep your eyes out this Halloween for the Nabridge costumes.
Yeah. The action figures.
The action figures.
On the shelves.
Christmas, start looking for the...
Yeah.
So I would say this. Also, so look, the saga has concluded. I'm in the movie. 4 seconds of glory. I'm in it. Thank you. It's over.
Thank you, Tom. It's been quite a journey. And listen, as you're watching the movie,
Yeah.
I made sure the fine people who make our end credit roll, which goes on for how long? 7 minutes, whatever.
Sure.
As it's listing the cast, I made sure that in the bridge, Tom Scharpling is the last credit in the after credit. So it stands out.
Amazing.
So people are enjoying who's in the movie, whatever. What it ends, people, you always go to that last name. Tom Scharpling.
Because you watch it and you're just kind of like, well, this guy must be more important than Michael Douglas.
No, Michael Douglas is actually in the main on-end credits.
Yeah, no,
he's
I
in the main
understand
credits.
that.
You're in the credit roll.
Yeah, but he's just one of. It's like, is he more important than Paul Rudd? Is he? I don't know. He's in the middle there somewhere, upper tier. It's Rudd.
Yeah.
Sharpling.
Yeah. Sure.
Everybody else in the middle is just kind of negotiable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you and Rudd first and last. You bookend the thing.
You got a bookshelf. Those books are going to fall this way, or they're going to fall that way.
Yeah.
You got Rudd holds the thing in there. Sharpling there. Those books stay put.
That is one way to look at it. Yeah.
Now, a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Brett Davis, do you have that clip? Couple Marvel related questions.
Sure.
First of all, this movie, right? Oh no, let's do this first. I just wanted you to focus on the pronunciation of a certain word that our own Brett Davis cannot unhear this.
Okay.
Can you play the scene, please?
Please, don't let your past determine the future.
As long as I am alive, nobody will ever get that formula.
Okay. Formula. He's
Formula? No.
Play it again.
Formula.
Play it again. This is from Ant-Man 1.
Yes. Please,
Don't
don't let your past determine the future.
As long as I am alive, nobody will ever get that formula.
Formula. It's an open A. Formula.
As long as I'm alive, nobody will ever get that formula.
There's no way.
Let's hear it again.
Michael Douglas.
Let's hear it again.
Hollywood royalty says formula.
Let's hear it again.
Okay.
Please, don't let your past determine the future.
As long as I am alive, nobody will ever get that formula.
There's
Formula.
There's a little.
No. Someone put this in your head, and now you think you're hearing it.
No, he doesn't go formula.
As long as I'm alive, nobody will ever get that formula.
Now you're going
It's in the back
so
of the
big
throat.
with the He goes, as long as I'm alive, nobody will ever get that formula. He hits an R at the very end of it.
No.
Okay, look.
We're going to have to agree to disagree. You can do a poll.
Okay.
Is that the kind of thing you guys do? Do you do online polls?
We do.
Okay,
yes.
so
Okay.
if you put it to your
people
listeners.
are saying I should shut my mouth or I'm going to get cut again. It's last minute.
Yes.
Last minute.
I'm going to go around to every
crack the
theater.
edit open.
Going around to
Like,
every theater.
Yeah.
Across the globe.
Now, just another thing. This movie. Do you know this movie here? Can you help me
Spider-Man
out?
No Way Home. Yes.
I bought this.
Oh.
The Blu-ray has a skip on it.
The Blu-ray has a skip on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it froze.
Oh.
Right when Ned was on the screen, too. Ned's trying to explain something.
Yeah.
This thing freezes. Like, who can I talk to about this?
I could get that to some people who might be able to disregard it immediately.
Can we work this up the chain?
First of all, I'd like to say I'm pleased that you're a physical media guy.
Yes.
You still buy the Blu-rays.
Yes, I do.
And I'm going to pledge to you right now on the show in front of everybody. At such time that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania comes out on physical Blu-ray.
Yeah.
You tell me, Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, whatever your preference is.
Okay, yeah.
That's on me. Compliments of the house.
I like it. I like a freebie.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
But seriously, I mean, is this like a Feige thing?
That's probably the fastest way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we call him?
Let me see. I don't know if he's home yet from the junk. Oh, my phone. I had to turn my phone off. They wouldn't allow me in the
They
studio.
wouldn't let the phone.
Yeah,
on,
yeah. Sorry. But I can call him on
Sure.
you
Please
know,
bring
on the
it up.
drive
Like,
phone.
just say,
Yeah.
Just say it doesn't work. It had 2 moments where it froze.
Is that the standard or the 4K?
That's
a Blu-ray.
It's a Blu-ray.
Okay.
It's the
Plus
combo,
the DVD. Yeah.
Plus the So
It might be. You have the digital code there. You could just input the digital code, and you'd have a digital streaming version of it.
I mean, I should have every option available to me as the consumer.
That's true. That also comes with the standard DVD version.
It does, yes. But I was watching the Blu-ray.
You could skip and just watch the Ned speech in DVD, and once the skip is over, you go back to the Blu-ray.
Sure,
and
I could. That's fair.
Pick up the rest of it.
It's a fair amount of work. So you've done this movie. I just want to talk about the movie for a second.
Sure.
The first movie is like a heist. It's a heist.
Yeah.
Second movie, like action-y car chase. That's one. Seriously, it's one of the great. I love the car chase. It's so much fun.
Thank you.
Because you do work in. You work in your thing, because your thing is you are funny, and you have these inventive elements that you work into the flow of a thing. Dare I say it's Spielberg-esque?
Oh,
where you know how to squeeze the most out of an action scene. I can tell. I'm going to project now. Now we go back to 1981.
Oh.
A young Peyton Reed sitting in a theater watching Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Because when I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark at like the advanced screening the night before. I was just like, I cannot wait to see this thing. I didn't know 2 things about it, except that Han Solo had a whip all of a sudden. Right?
Yeah, that's part of the story. Han Solo gets a whip.
I'm just saying for me as a kid.
Of course. Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
like, it's Lucas, it's Spielberg, and it's Han Solo.
Yeah. They're making a movie together.
You think I knew Bob Falfa at that point?
Yeah. As a kid, you're a huge Bob Falfa fan.
Bob Falfa's here.
Yeah.
Or the guy who built Elliot Gould's cabinets is here.
Yeah.
That woodworker?
He built Sergio Mendes' studio out in the valley.
That also must have been the most amazing thing when just like people are just like, wait a minute. That guy who built my kitchen cabinets.
That guy screwed up my storage shelf.
Yeah. He's now in the biggest movie ever. He's like the best part of the biggest movie ever. Yeah. They must have that's a true Hollywood story.
Yeah.
Of Harrison Ford just with his tool belt.
Shirtless, probably.
Shirtless.
I feel like he made that whole cabinet, studio, kitchen, whatever he was doing, completely shirtless.
And he's just like
baked.
Where do you want it? And he's just like,
can you hand me that hammer and nail? I just gotta finish hanging this cabinet.
Where's my drill? But you sit in that theater. I never had my mind blown by a movie ever. Like the level of the action.
It's unbelievable.
Because it kept going like this and it goes up again. That freaking thing when he's got the whip on the trucks moving down the road is one of the most, that made more of an impression on me than just about anything in terms of the idea that there is no limit to like the intensity that you can get out of a scene. And just when you think you've had enough, you can find another gear.
It's incredible. I happened to be working at a movie theater in Raleigh, North Carolina, that summer of '81, where Raiders was playing. Mm-hmm. So of course I saw it on my own, but then I could see it. I saw it dozens and dozens of times. Once people were seated, I would sit in there. I mean, it's seared into my brain, like shot for shot. And it is such incredible filmmaking. And it's also Spielberg coming off 1941, which was this gigantic, bloated thing. So much money was spent.
Yeah.
And now he's working for producer George Lucas, who's saying like, you're not going to come in a penny over this thing. And so he's on a budget.
Yeah.
And he's got stuff to prove. Like it just caught everybody at the right time. And it's so great.
Yeah. That and there's also just the idea he knew when it was time to be like, oh, there's 50 guys fighting in a thing. oh, it's all these trucks going. And then he just knows when to strip it down to just two people. Suddenly he's like on the runway with the plane going around, and that strong guy, suddenly that guy.
Yeah.
Like he just knew it's just like, sometimes it's just you got to get back to basics again. Like make it just him versus somebody else.
Yeah.
It just like, so was that probably did that make what made the biggest impact on you? Star Wars? That? What were the other ones that like just where they are tattooed on your brain and everything's kind of almost run through the filter of those movies?
The very first one for me, I'm a little bit older. The very first one for me was the original Planet of the Apes, 1968. Okay. And when I was a kid, CBS used to run that on Friday nights. And then I finally saw it in a theater. And that is a movie that is probably the movie that made me want to make movies. The makeup, the ape makeup is awesome. Charlton Heston is over the top. And that movie grows with you as you get older because it's, it's a dark movie when you look at it.
Yeah. He's
this misanthrope. He's turned his back on mankind. He's traveled out to space and then he has to kind of become an apologist for the human race. And, it has a lot to say about race and religion and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
So that's one of the ones. Do you feel like did you read this Quentin Tarantino book that came out, Cinema Speculation?
Yes.
It's an amazing book. If you want to read a book that, even if you are not somebody who, nobody could read this book and say, I agree with 100% of the things in this, except for Quentin Tarantino. But it is a fascinating, he breaks down, you understand what makes him tick. He talks about his movie-going experiences when he was 7, when he was 8. And then you're like, he's been chasing certain moments for his whole life to get to create that moment that he experienced when he was 8.
Yeah.
And there's a thing where he was basically, his mother was dating a guy who was a person of color, wanted to take the kid to the movies. They went downtown in LA.
Yep.
He's the only white kid in the whole theater.
Yeah.
And he heckles the screen at a point and the entire theater laughs. And he's just been chasing that moment for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And it's shocking with that stuff. So these movies, those are like Planet of the Apes. Are you chasing that? Like, do you feel like in some way?
It's all that stuff. Like it is, you remember how those movies made you feel, or sequences or moments in those movies made you feel. And there's an exhilaration, and it's either fear or it's just this responding to the kinetics of the filmmaking. I remember hearing this story about Spielberg and Zemeckis, and they were previewing Jaws in 75, and they were showing it to a bunch of people somewhere in Hollywood. And it's the scene, spoiler alert, it's the scene where Quint...
I didn't get a chance to see it yet.
Quint gets eaten by the shark. And Spielberg recalled hearing someone like laughing really loudly at that moment, which he thought in the moment was a really odd response.
Yeah.
And he found out later it was a young Zemeckis who was, I think, still at USC Film School.
Sure.
And Zemeckis explained that he was laughing just at the exhilaration of how great the filmmaking was.
Yeah.
And you have that feeling too. It's like that you see something, it's like, oh my God, you still, I can still be compelled to yell and scream and laugh out loud in a movie theater. I love it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's part of the experience. But Raiders has that in that chase and just these moments that are pitch perfect. And like you said, they're, it's firing on all cylinders until it finds another cylinder you didn't know about.
And I don't think there's a better example of pacing in an action movie than that movie, because it knows when it's time to calm it down, when it's time to focus on the characters, and then when it starts dialing up. Those movies to me were basically the death of James Bond movies in a way, because that's when James Bond became, suddenly it's like you have this, or you have Roger Moore going judo chop, and he's like,
well, it's two things. It's like
this
Spielberg
88-year-old man in a tuxedo suddenly just he's just don't mind if I do, and
a pigeon does a double take. They rock and roll a shot of a pigeon doing a double take. But Raiders, there's two things that Spielberg wanted to make a Bond movie, and they wouldn't let him. And George Lucas said, I got something better. Yeah. So he took that attitude of I want to make the ultimate action thing. And the second thing is that I remember when it came out, critics at the time, I think pretty much everybody loved that movie, but certain critics were like, well, they've taken out all the slow parts and it's just a roller coaster ride. It was maybe one of the first movies they referred to as a roller coaster ride.
Sure.
Which is obviously a cliche now, but like at that time it was like, it's just nonstop action. But that movie became the template for everything that followed.
Yeah.
In terms of how, and I remember on Temple of Doom, they talked about playing with how fast you could edit and how fast the cuts could be and the audience could still follow the action, how they're really pushing it in that second movie. But it really, those movies set the tempo for all the action movies to follow.
Yeah. And to me, the craziest thing now is like, I think these Mission Impossible movies are at the highest level of that now, where they are like, I don't know how you could even try to say like, hey, we're going to make a James Bond movie, because they're doing it again, where they're just like, the action scene ends and then it's just Tom Cruise and they put a blueprint on a table and they just suddenly come like they give you like 2 minutes to recover.
Yeah.
2-3 minutes to just like catch your breath, settle back down. And he's saying like, all right, we got to go here and then go there. And then suddenly the trucks are rolling.
Yeah.
They're just suddenly in the trucks going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's been a franchise except for Ant-Man that gets better with each one. These movies, they get better. These Mission Impossible movies.
The filmmaking in the Mission Impossible movies is extraordinary. And like it or not, Tom Cruise's commitment to that, and just constantly raising the bar is really impressive, right? I mean, they're just it's all about like cutting out that shoe leather.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just action. I'm excited to see the next ones.
Now, Star Wars, big influence on you, obviously. The Marvel stuff's obviously, because you were literally drawing Ant-Man when you were a kid.
Yeah,
like you have physical proof that you were how old when you were drawing like the cover of Avengers 1?
I was drawing stuff as a kid, but then I was a drummer for a band in North Carolina in the mid 80s, and I would draw the flyers for the shows or gigs as we called them. Yeah. It's a music term.
Yeah.
And I drew one that was a total ripoff of the cover of Avengers #1, and I drew the band members as members of the Avengers, and I drew myself as Ant-Man.
Isn't that the most? That's the most.
It's weird.
It's so.
And we
weird.
showed it at Comic-Con in 2014 when I came on the movie, and it was a weird thing to sort of feel somehow fated to do Ant-Man in a way.
I know you have to get going, Ant-Man, because this movie, I was at the point. It was a thread. I'm going to pick up on it. The first one, it's grounded. It's a heist movie. Second one, expanded out a little more. Still both feet on the ground. But now some quantum stuff starting to poke through. Yep. But still, it's a conventional movie for the most part. But this one is bonkers.
Yeah.
You are not walking around in reality for 98% of this movie.
Yeah, it's true.
But that is just like, what is that like to take the same tools, people, and now we're just doing it so differently?
To me, it's something that it did feel like a logical progression of the story and those characters. It made sense because we were really kind of just answering this question that we'd set up in the last couple of movies.
Answering this question.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you.
That is good. We set up this thing and we left the audience with this question. What was Janet Van Dyne doing for 30 years in the Quantum Realm? We needed to answer that. And we wanted to take the audience down. And again, having read those comics as a kid, it's the microverse. We wanted to explore, the microverse became the Quantum Realm in the movies. So it made sense, but it also made sense in terms of like, we got to mix it up. To me, the cardinal sin you can commit in these movies is to repeat yourself. You got to do something different and not bore the audience. And this just felt like, oh, I have a chance here. None of the other Marvel movies have mined
chance.
Go ahead. Let me find my train of thought again. We had the opportunity to create the Quantum Realm. Like none of the other Marvel movies were dealing with that. It was something we had introduced into the MCU, and then we could just make it whatever we wanted to.
Yeah.
So to me, we had this crazy team of artists and under our production designer, Will Tay, and it was like, let's take things from show me your portfolios. We have to come up with all these weird creatures and races and environments and everything. And I wanted it to be this grab bag of stuff I love. Like, there's a little bit of Flash Gordon in there. There's a little bit of Heavy Metal magazine from the 70s and 80s. Maybe there's a little Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and just, science fiction paperback cover art.
Yeah, yeah.
Just stuff that, was really evocative. And it was our chance to create this really wide and varied thing because we were going to be living in those environments for almost the entire movie.
Yeah, it's really it's just fun for you to just get to, because the Ant-Man movies, they're my favorites because they're just funny, and I just like, that's the combination I always like, and your sense of humor is my sense of humor, so it's always just worked for me as the most optimal level. So, but they've always been complementary to the big thing. They're kind of like, even like Ant-Man and the Wasp, you're just like, where does this even fit? Because it came out between the two.
Oh yeah, we were stuck
Avengers
between Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, so you're just kind of like, you're like, you're almost like you're like the sidebar to the main story.
Yeah, we're like, if you're on the phone with someone and they give you a horrible, dramatic piece of news and you're just reeling from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put you on hold. It's like, hey, can you hold for a second? And then there's hold music playing.
Yeah.
That was Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Uh-huh.
And then they pick the phone back up again and they resolve the problem.
They start talking.
That's Endgame.
And
that
the hold music is a song you like.
Yeah, you like it.
Oh, I like that song.
It's great.
That's great. That was fun.
It's great. But you're just rocking from the news you just got.
Yeah. But now it's great to see that this is now kicking off like real stuff. You're not the sidebar anymore. You're not the hold music.
Yeah.
Like this is a load bearing wall.
Yeah. And I certainly don't think of Ant-Man and the Wasp as hold music.
No,
that's a joke I make on a show. I love that movie.
But we're just saying.
But now, in
terms of the big narrative.
Yeah. I always liked that Ant-Man that we were playing in the margins.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to carry any of the water of the sort of Infinity Stones and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This one, we're kicking off this phase 5 in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was the thing we wanted to do. I talked to Kevin Feige. I said, I want this to be an Avengers level movie. I want to do something really different with it. And wouldn't it be cool to put Ant-Man and the Wasp, maybe the most unlikely Avengers, up against a big villain?
Yeah.
And in the comics, you read the comics.
Yeah.
Who's the Mount Rushmore of Marvel Comics villains? There's Thanos, there's Doctor Doom.
There's
Galactus, right? And in the MCU, there's Killmonger, right? There's Loki, certainly.
Sure.
But Kang the Conqueror in the comics, he was hanging out there and sort of ripe for the picking.
Waiting, yeah.
Yeah. And we thought, like, it's such an obviously lopsided confrontation.
Yeah.
And so there's tension in it immediately. Like, well, what are Ant-Man and the Wasp going to do against Kang the Conqueror?
Yeah.
That seemed like a fun challenge to us.
Yeah.
And so,
and that's why it's not surprising that when he kills Ant-Man, because he is very powerful.
Uh-huh.
He kills Ant-Man.
I would love it. Oh, spoilers.
Look,
spoilers are a tricky thing. They're tricky.
He kills him at the end.
Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Tom, I talked to you about we can't get into verifying or negating any plot points.
Sure.
Okay.
You've
just told the audience that you saw the movie last night.
Yeah. Now you've seen movies where Austin Powers, he plays Austin Powers. He's also Dr. Evil. He's Fat Bastard. He's Gold Member.
Yeah. Where's this going?
Nutty Professor. He's Sherman Klump, but he's all family.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp 4. Ant-Man 4. Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania 2. It should be the poster.
Yeah.
All I'm saying.
It rolls up the tongue.
My dream in this life. These are my dreams. Hang out with a monkey.
Yeah.
Want to hang out with a monkey.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I wanted to ride through the Holland Tunnel.
Like a spider monkey or a member of the Monkeys band?
No,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was more like an ape. That was like a chimp.
Or a chimp, monkey.
Okay. Some simian.
Yeah. There's room for a second. All I'm saying, my dream has been to say, you can't do that to Ant-Man, to be like the citizen in a movie.
Yeah.
Because I watch Superman 2, and I know this is
Yeah.
a movie made by the distinguished competition. You might not be able to acknowledge its existence. I will say, you might be like, what's Superman?
Sure, John.
You're not allowed.
You know of my love for
no.
the Christopher
I'm
Reeve
just
Superman.
saying, in Superman 2, when those people go up against Zod, and they're like, hey, you can't mess with Superman.
Yeah.
And then they start walking. I start crying.
They take to the streets.
They take the streets, and they got no powers.
You can't do that to Superman.
He's our guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cry a little bit.
Yeah.
I see Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi one.
Yeah.
And they're saying, Spider-Man, this is New York. Or whatever they said, something like that.
Yeah.
I started bawling my eyes out because I'm just like,
you're a man of the people.
These people have no powers, but they're going to fight Doc Ock.
Yeah.
All I'm saying, I'll give you 3.
Yeah.
You can walk this over to Feige or whoever it be. Okay, here we go. You can direct me on this.
Okay, so here we go. Ready?
Okay.
And action.
Line. Okay. No,
You got it now?
Okay.
You off book?
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. And action.
Hey, you can't do that to Ant-Man. He's one of ours.
Okay, I'd like to do one more.
Okay.
I was with it the first half.
Yeah.
You held out the R's in a way that maybe it was a little too musical.
Okay.
You're intense. You gotta. You may have to fight this guy you're yelling at. Here we go.
Okay.
And take 2.
Hey, you can't do that to Ant-Man. That's one of our guys.
Okay, so I like that. That's a different guy from take 1. And let's stick with the same guy, the sort of the New Yorkie guy from the first one,
guy. Okay.
as opposed to the guys up from Charlotte.
Sure. Hey, you can't do that to Ant-Man. He's one of ours.
Okay. All right. I like that guy. He's friendly. He's warm. But I want to see that same guy, that same character.
okay.
But he's in a situation he's never been in. He may have to go up against General Zod, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta. He's got to summon up his inner strength. Here we go.
Okay.
And action.
You can't do that to Ant-Man. He's one of ours.
Okay. That's usually. I think we've got it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got it. This one, just have fun with this one.
Okay, have fun with this one.
Yeah. That's your favorite piece of direction, right? Just have fun
Let's
with
go
this
nuts.
one. Yeah.
Let's go nuts.
Here we go. And
I watch you direct, and you usually do. Then just say, just go nuts.
I've never said that in my life. Here we go. Like I say, hey, Michael Douglas. Yeah, Peyton. Just go nuts. What the hell? Geez, that's the worst piece of direction I've ever received in my entire career. That's what would happen to me.
People were also begging when they heard you were coming back to do your Michael Douglas impression.
Oh,
people
look at that.
Your Michael Douglas, so they got a good taste. Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
and action.
You can't do that to Ant-Man, or I'll never give you the formula.
Oh. You son of a bitch.
Well,
yeah, you brought it right back. He does not say formula.
Okay, well, we'll settle it on the set of Ant-Man for he who I will be playing the Dazzler.
We are bringing the Dazzler into the MCU.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But in terms of the casting, it's a guy.
We start the wardrobe fittings.
Sure. And
well, let's just do the wardrobe fittings.
Let's just do the wardrobe fittings. Look, Peyton Reed, you know I love you. You're the best. Thank you for all the fun with all this stuff. And we've all been laughing for this whole time. Nobody take any of this stuff too seriously. Was my heart broken? Yeah, you all saw it.
What do you do now? They know that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come in
Ant-Man
here.
4 Revenge of the Bridge. Thank you. There it is, right there.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
What he's a vengeful guy, the bridge?
Well, he's coming from the quantum realm.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. No spoilers, please.
To be like, Ant-Man, there is serious trouble in the quantum realm. You need to return. So I'm going to cast this spell.
Oh, he's magical.
He's like, it's like a window, and it's like an actual window, and we lift it up and go down it. And then looking in the window is John Belushi from Animal House.
I thought you were going to say from Neighbors. It's John Belushi from Neighbors.
No, it's one of the first R-rated movies I saw by myself. That's the first one I saw alone in a theater, Neighbors. My parents pulled up, went to the box office. It's an R-rated movie. My mother walks up to him and she goes, he's good. And then they just sold me the ticket.
And cut to young Tom in the theater. Why'd they switch roles? He should be playing the...
What's Dan Aykroyd, the weird one? No, seriously, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania comes out on the 17th.
February 17th, yes.
It's very exciting, and I'm happy to be a part of it. And you're one of my favorite people, and this is exciting.
I feel the same way, Tom. And I want to say on behalf of Marvel, welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Sure.
You're in.
I'm in. You hear that, everybody? They can't take me out now.
Paul Rudd sends his regards. I was with him today. We were doing press, and he said, make sure Tom knows we're the first and the last in the credit roll.
Yeah.
And welcome to the MCU.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul, wherever you are. Peyton Reed, thank you for coming by. I'm going to play a song, and then we will come back on. We got Mark Maron. It's going to be here. This is a star-packed episode of the show. Let's listen to something by my friend. This is the band that I saw where I got COVID at the show and could not be in the movie. It is Dinosaur Jr. from their most recent album, Sweeping Into Space. Be right back.